When you run a t-test in SPSS, it is very important that you set up your data correctly before you start the test. The data for the two t-tests that we've learned about, the independent samples t-test and repeated measures t-test, are set up very differently in SPSS. If you set up your data wrong, you can't run the test that you wanted to. So you should decide what test you will be running before you enter your data in SPSS. This is why the first step in our 5 steps of hypothesis testing is to know what kind of test you're going to run. This is something that you will decide upon in the research methods portion of your research design. You should know before you ever begin data collection what type of test you're ultimately going to run. But for our purposes, let's be sure we understand how to set up this data correctly. If you're using an independent samples t-test, you should put all of the scores in a single column. Then you will create a second variable, typically called group or something like that, which will have 1s and 2s to separate the two groups. For the score variable, all of these will be scale level data. But your grouping variable will be nominal, with 1s and 2s indicating the group belonging. In our example previously, 1 could have been clicker group, and 2 could have been food reward group. It's also useful in SPSS to use the value labels to make sure you know which group is which. When you have a paired samples t-test, you will set up SPSS with scale level variables for both of your variables in the test. So if we're doing a before and after test, both the before and after variable will be scale level. Now you may remember that I told you that the first step of hypothesis testing would be the easiest because it would just be the test that we're learning this week. But here's the kicker. At some point, you're going to have to know what type of test you want to run and how you want to set up your data. So it's important that you understand these nuances, these differences, these ways that you have to go about constructing your data set. And it's important that you understand that now, because later on, I won't be around to tell you what tests to run. This is information that you need to have in your own brain.